Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to continue building the Ragley Trig. I have in between videos been stripping down the Topstone, which is the donor bike. So as you can see, the steering, the stem and the bars are off it. I've started loosening the brake calipers, taken the crankset and bottom bracket off, took all the cabling off, loosened the hanger bolt, and I'm ready to start the next portion of the video, which is going to be adding the cranks on. The last video put the bottom bracket on. On the Topstone I had a Tiagra 5236, so I had two up at the front, but what I'm going to try and do with this one is I have got a spare GRX 600 crank, and I've taken off the second chainring, the smaller one, because where I live at the moment is really flat and you can go like 20 miles and only do like 50 to 100 feet of climbing. What I've decided to do is go one by at the front, so avoid all the clutter of a front derailleur, which is going to mess up that sleek looking purple frame. So I'm going to keep the 46 large chainring and 1132 cassette on the back and run that for a bit and see how it works. So I'm going to put this crankset on now and see how we go. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the drive side on, just push that in first. It has been pre-greased using the Park grease I used on the last video, and I'll put the links etc for all this stuff in the cabinet section. So I'm pushing that on as far as it'll go and it's moving freely, it's not binding on the frame or anything. And then I'm going to stick the non-drive side arm on. Just like that. Now I have looked on the back of this, and on the GRX non-drive side it does say tighten to between 12 and 14 Newton meters. So I'm going to loosely do up the Allen keys first. There's 2 bolts on the non-drive side, and then I'm going to finish off using the torque wrench. So I've loosely done those 2 bolts up. You can see them on the left hand side there. You've got to do them evenly as well. Don't tighten one right up. You've got to tighten them evenly, otherwise it puts stress on it. And also checking there's no sideways play in that at all. It's not binding, it moves nice and free. So I'm going to get a torque wrench on it now and set it to between 12 and 14. And just out of interest, the GRX, the hex head is a 5mm on this one. So just starting to tighten this one up, and it is set to 12 Newton meters. Spin it around. It's a bit tricky to do, is this? That's it. In there. You sort of feel the tightness as it increases. Spin it around. Sometimes you've got to shake these to get them to seat properly. And yeah, that click there. Click there. So that's set at 12. No sideways play, and it's moving free. Okay, so next off, what I'm going to do is mount the rear derailleur on the hanger. I'm going to put some copper grease on this, because I don't expect to ever undo this one. I have cleaned the derailleur down, taken the pulley off, just give it a clean, just so it's not all clogged up. So I'm going to just put a blob of grease on. Okay, so you can see the grease is on there, hopefully. And that screw that you can see, the adjuster screw there, needs to sit on the hanger just above there, and obviously when it's extended, as the derailleur pulls around, the screw stops it from travelling past that point. So I just had to move around a little bit there because I couldn't actually see what I was doing, and it wasn't threading up, but it appears to be in now. So I'm just going to tighten this up. Just hand tight. And that'll just a screw, obviously once adjusting it more. So I may take that off and just have a look at that again. So it appears to be okay. So I'm just going to tighten it up. I'm not sure what the torque setting is on this, but as it doesn't need to come undone again, I'm going to do it a little bit tighter than the 12 to 14. It's a 5mm and it's set on it's on 12 at the moment. Is this? Just a little bit more. Right, so that's about 14. That seems to be moving okay. So that one's on. Right, so as you can see, that is the Park Tool SG7.2. It's the oversized adjustable saw guide, and you can see inside there where the steerer tube mounts. The oversized slot on the left, as you can see it, is for a carbon blade, as they're slightly wider than your conventional steel hacksaw blade. Because I think they've got like a diamond coating or something which helps to cut through the carbon. So I'm going to mount this on the bench vise, get it all set up, and then start with the cut. So what I've done is I've mounted the fork inside there now. The edge of the tape, if you can pick that up on camera, is the pen line, Sharpie line. So you can see where the blade sat. There's about 3mm there where it just sits back. So that, I believe, is what I'm going to cut. If you're not from the UK and you're watching this, this is what we call squeaky bum time, because if it goes wrong, you'll hear some squeaking coming out of my backside. So I'm going to start cutting. I'll set the camera up so you can see, and we'll just take our time with it. So a bit of tension on this, not too much because I don't want to crush the steerer. And I'm mindful as well, I know you're probably screaming at your screens now saying you need to wear a mask, but I will take care. So the idea of the jig is to get a perfectly straight cut. A little bit more to go. There we go. This is where we can all breathe again. It didn't shatter. That looks pretty good. I'm not 100% convinced it is square, but there you go. Let's take it off. Obviously mindful of the dust. We don't want to be breathing dust in. I'll just take this tape off. I'm going to go wash my hands, and then we're going to see what it looks like on the bike. So it's all mounted back up there. You can see there's just a couple of millimetres below the lip of the stem. You can also see as well that it's not actually cut 100% square because it is slightly higher at that side. But I have got a these are Cannondale insert for the tubes. Obviously you don't use a star nut for carbon tubes because it'll just knacker it when you hammer it in. So I'm going to put this insert in. It's about 93mm, so it should strengthen the steerer tube. So I'll get it all set up and tightened, and it's a max of 8 Nm. So stand by for that one. So that took a little bit of adjustment. You have got to open it up a little bit first and hold it so it's kind of just touching on the insides for the width of the, for the internal diameter of the tube, just to give it a bit of grip. And as you push it in, it does then start to bite. So this is set at 8 Nm. And again, it's where you need about 3 pairs of hands. There we go, 8 Nm. So that is pretty much done now. I'm just going to tighten up the stem bolts, one on either side, 5 Newton meters as per the lettering on the head there. Just a point about this Cannondale, once it was tightened at 8 Newton meters, you don't actually get a top cap with it. So this nuke proof one, came with the top bearing with the cup, so it wasn't going to be used anyway because it had a star nut with it. So obviously take the star nut off and use this one just to tighten it down. So I'm going to tighten these up to 5 Newton meters, the stem bolts, and then on the next video hopefully we will start looking at setting up the rear derailleur and probably the post mount brake calipers as well, just prior to putting the cabling etc in. So thanks from me, please like and subscribe. If you've got any comments or thoughts, let me know, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.